to Shoot Time in the Morning
with Mitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Shoot Time in the Morning with Mitch. Oh! Fumble Central. Go again!
Don't give him a chair.
WWF football. All right. Hope you're doing well out there. What Mr. Mitchell was about to do would be called a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct and probably unnecessary roughness. When there's a penalty in football, they throw a yellow flag on the field, all right? And that's why you know there's a penalty, because you see flags start flying. Sometimes there's one flag, sometimes there's two flags, sometimes there's 20 flags. And I don't even know if there's enough referees to have 20 flags, but I've seen it happen before. Maybe not. Okay, here's the deal. Penalties are assessed in different amounts, but usually by yardage. Yardage added or yardage lost. Remember, we get 10 yards is our necessary distance to travel to maintain possession. You get 4 attempts to do that. Some penalties come with just yardage. Some penalties come with yardage and an automatic first down, means a restart of the down. And some penalties come with automatic first downs and ejections. But most penalties are either 5 yards, 10 yards, or in extreme cases 15 yards. There is one instance of a penalty which is detrimental, where it is however long the play would have been. And that's, we'll talk about it in general, and we'll talk about it in detail in about a few minutes. It's called pass interference. If I'm throwing the ball to, well, let's say Mr. Mitchell's throwing the ball to Mr. Moore-Henwig, the receiver, and I'm the defender, and I hit Mr. Moore-Henwig before the ball gets to him, that means I interfered with Mr. Moore-Henwig's ability to make a catch, which means that that is a foul or a penalty on me, and he probably would have caught the ball, so they'll award however long the pass is to Mr. Moore-Henwig. So once again, the ball's coming towards him, right? I'm all over him before he can get the ball, all right? What that means is penalty on me. I got to give him a fair shot to catch the ball. But what I can do, if I'm defending, if I'm looking, I can look, knock the ball down, okay? I can make the catch myself as a defender. Heck, I can catch the ball as a defender on that interception as he's going and run it all the way back to the other side for a touchdown. But if I get to Mr. Moore-Henwig or the receiver earlier as a defender, that is a pass interference call, and that is going to be however long the play was. I've seen pass interference that cost teams 60, 70 yards before. And you don't want to do that. So that's kind of important. So what we're going to do is talk briefly about some offensive do's and don'ts, some defensive do's and don'ts, and just kind of give you a rundown of the penalties. And here's a great fact we got from one of our students. You get 10 yards to go. If you lose the ball, so let's say a run play, and they tackle me behind the line of scrimmage, it can be 2nd and 10, or 2nd and 12, or 2nd and 15. And thanks to someone in our class, we found out the longest that there has been was 3rd and 92 yards. That's from penalties, 3rd and 92. I don't know how it got there, but that's flat out amazing. So make sure you don't ever get in that situation either. That, I think, can only come from penalties. Let's talk about some penalties right now. First and foremost, on the offensive side of the ball, when you line up, you got alignment. If Mr. Mitchell, our quarterback, would stand up, the center hikes the ball to the quarterback. All right? The play doesn't start, no matter what. The play doesn't start until the ball moves. The quarterback can say whatever he wants. All right? Doesn't matter. The ball has to move. Now, if we're here, lined up, and he says, hike, hut, go, hike, hut, go, and I don't snap the ball, but the defensive lineman jumps, boom. All right? That's what's called an offsides penalty. He has broken the plane without the ball being moved, and we get 5 yards forward. Okay? So the ball will go 5 yards forward. Imagine that's 5 yards. You have a lot of room. Okay? Now the ball's here. Same thing happens. All right? If the center moves the ball but doesn't snap the ball, or someone on the offense jumps before the ball is snapped, that's called a false start because we move before the ball is snapped. We bring the ball back 5 yards. That's a penalty on the offense. All right? Now, imagine the imaginary center's here, going to snap the ball to the quarterback. All right? It's my job to block, because I'm a lineman, the defender. I can extend my arms and block the defender all day. But if he gets through and I grab him, that's called a holding penalty. All right? You can't hold. And many a hold have destroyed many of great plays. So, holding is a 10-yard penalty, and you replay it down. So, I held the ball, the offense goes back 10 yards, and you repeat the play again. Doesn't matter if you scored a touchdown on the play. But, sorry, the idiot was holding on the line. It's over, all right? Then you know what I get? I get an earful from the coach. Gosh, dang it, what's going on? Come. Don't hold. You can't hold. All right. Another thing that's important, the game is a physical game, but nobody wants to see injuries. So, as we're on the line, we'll show you a couple more you can't do, all right? The ball is snapped. You got to imagine there's a center here, guys. I'm giving you a see-through diagram. The ball's there. He's running through, all right? I can't chop block him. I can't hit him in the knees, all right? Too dangerous. You'll hurt someone's knees, all right? You can't do that. That's a penalty, all right? Same thing coming in. All right? He gets by. I can't trip him. No tripping, all right? That's very dangerous. All right, when you're wearing football padding, all right, you have padding, a helmet, a face mask, your leg pads and stuff on. You cannot grab someone by their face mask. That is a penalty as well, all right? Now we're going to switch a little bit here to the offensive defensive position. I'm going to ask Mr. Moore-Hendrick to play the running back on the other side. Mr. Mitchell's going to hand the ball to Mr. Moore-Hendrick. I'm the defender now. All right? I can tackle him, freeze. Tackle him a number of ways. Properly would be to wrap him up and bring him to the ground. But if I grab his face mask, that's a face mask penalty on the defense. All right? If I were to grab him by the pads around the back and pull him backwards, that's what they call a horse collar tackle. All right? Can't do that. All right? Some of you guys are football fans, so you've seen some of that stuff. But let me tell you, we're a little bit older than you. We saw the good old days. Back in the day, you used to be able to come through and clothesline somebody. They outlawed that. Too many people getting hurt. All right? No clotheslines. All right, come on back over this way, if you will, Mr. Moore-Hendrick. All right? Another thing that you cannot do is Mr. Moore-Hendrick is running towards the sideline, and I'm running, and he gets out of bounds. I want to hit him anyway. All right? That's called a late hit. Unnecessary roughness. Cannot do that. All right. What else we got, fellas?
But you're on the ground and somebody hits you.
Oh.
You're already tackled or you're on the ground and somebody jumps on top of you.
That's also a late hit. That's also a late hit. Okay? Now, one thing, as we were saying earlier, we'll show it one more time. Mr. Moore-Hendrick is the running back. He's going to go out for a screen pass or a passing route. All right? Mr. Mitchell's the quarterback. He's coming up. All right? I go there before him. Sorry about that. All right? That's pass interference. You can't. You got to give him a chance to catch the ball. Now, one other thing. Mr. Moore-Hendrick is the wide receiver. All right? I'm a cornerback. Look at your diagram and see where the cornerback is. I'm the coverage man for this guy. Now, the rules dictate that I can make contact with him in between 5 yards as he's running. If he's going up the field, he gets past 5 yards, I can't touch him anymore. Now he's going to throw the ball in. Hopefully he makes a nice catch. Touchdown. All right? If I touch him before he's on the field as he goes, and I'm past 5 yards and I'm still pushing him, all right? All right, go down there. that will be a penalty that will give them a free first down and advance the ball. So,
Spot of the foul.
on the spot of the foul, yes. So, cannot do a lot of things in football because it's a very dangerous sport if played incorrectly. So, we got to be mindful of some of these things. And there are a lot of different things that we can talk about. Now, we're going to show you a video on a list of penalties coming up pretty soon here, right after the shoot time in the morning. We want you to be aware of how the game is played, all right? Play the game hard, but safely, all right? You're trying to win the game. You're not trying to injure anybody, but you're playing with aggression. That's the game of football. That's why so many people love it.
When a penalty's called, guys, the referee will have, but it'll be yellow. It'll be a flag kind of like this, and you'll see it just kind of hanging out of the official's pocket or out of their pants. Boom, interference. The referee will usually pull the flag and throw it towards the penalty. Watch for that when you watch live football. You'll see some penalties. Yellow flag go out. Someone might pick it up, give it back to him, but then he'll pick it back up, put it right back in his belt loop. All right? So that's what it looks like. It's a yellow flag.
One little known thing, speaks, you've got the flag there as a prop to show you what it really looks like. All right? If you're on offense, you cannot run out of bounds and come back in bounds and be the first person to touch the ball. If you run out of bounds, the referee takes his hat off and throws it at the spot where you run out of bounds to remind that that player cannot be the first person to touch it. All right? If you do, it's called illegal touching. And that's another penalty that will be enforced on the offense.
Which penalty do you hate the most when you're watching the game?
You know, I think Mr. Shoemaker mentioned earlier, it's that interference call when the guy throws a 62-yard bomb. And it's interference. Mr. Shoemaker, here's the ball's about right here coming down to Mr. Shoemaker. And here I am. Oh, before the ball gets there, flag. Now they get all this penalty yardage, especially at the end of the game, Mr. Mitchell, that changes the game. For me, I hate seeing that.
For me, it's holding. I hate holding, especially when holding happens on the other side of the field on a player who's holding, who has nothing to do with the play itself. You make a beautiful, beautiful catch, and Mr. Shoemaker, who's like 10 yards that way, not even in the play, is holding somebody who's not even in the play. And your beautiful catch now is just worthless.
Frustrating. How are you, Mr. Shoemaker?
Well, you know, I got to be honest, I'm a little old school. Don't hate me. My least favorite penalty nowadays is the targeting call, the unnecessary roughness call. I played safety a long time ago. Some of these hits that you guys see now say, ooh, that was a little bit much. I think that's what I was trained to do. I used to lick my chops, say, ooh, this guy, the receiver, is strung out, ready to go. Here comes the ball. Uh-oh, boom! Yeah, what a hit! High-fiving the team, all right.
But nowadays, Mr. Shoemaker,
Penalty!
flag, 15 yards.
Because the receiver was defenseless.
You may get ejected as well. We didn't really talk about ejections.
Leading with the helmet.
Well, and it's a good point. When you do an egregious penalty now, like what they say, targeting, Mr. Moorhead has a great point. We talked a little bit about ejection. We didn't talk about what they were. If you get a targeting call, all right, they'll throw you out of the game immediately. All right, you're out of the game. And if you have a prior targeting call, you could get suspended for another game. So, always play the game safely, but play it hard. Now, we are here. We're going to tell you about this stuff. We got a short video about penalties afterwards. But remember, the goal is for you to be able to just watch a football game and understand what is going on. Look at it. Okay, this is what's happening. Just be able to follow along. Some of you guys like football now. You'll love it. Some of you guys are open, but you have no idea what's going on. You'll like it. And some of you guys may not like it no matter what we do. But you'll know what's going on. If you ever watch the Super Bowl at a Super Bowl party, or you have family over for Thanksgiving and the game comes on, you would say, oh, I understand what's going on. And that's our point.
And don't get frustrated, guys. Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Shoemaker, and I have been watching football a long time. And we still learn things. I mean, it's just an endless pit of information. So if you feel overwhelmed, don't feel too overwhelmed. Just learn slowly. It's just always small incremental steps of improvement. You'll pick up on the major factors. Speaking of that sports factor, what do you got for us this week?
All right, I talked what teams won the most Super Bowls. Now I'm going to ask you what when a player wins on a Super Bowl team, when they win the Super Bowl, every single player on that team gets a ring. Beautiful ring, too. Big, diamonds on it. Oh, they're huge, and they're very expensive. One player has more Super Bowl victories and more rings than any other player.
Good
Who is that player?
Mr. Shoemaker, or the Jolly Geographer. What's on your mind?
Jolly! Did you get it last week? All right. Who drives a pirate ship? Pirates. What teams are named after pirates? Well, there's the Raiders that moved to Las Vegas from Oakland, but they don't have a pirate ship. Only other one, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers is another word for pirate. They got a pirate ship right in their stadium. The stadium is called Raymond James Stadium. Now, for today's question, we're going to stick with football because that's where we are. What state has the most football teams? Professional, we're talking. What state has the most football teams?
That's a good question. Two good questions, two good trivia questions. Look that stuff up, guys. Information that could be valuable to you at one point or another.
Never know when you're going to be on Jeopardy.
You never know.
Rest
You
in
never
peace,
know.
Alex Trebek.
Yes. Guys, last video we asked what was your least favorite sport to watch, either live or at home. I want to know what's your least favorite sports, Mr. Mitchell, your least favorite sport to play.
I'm going to say soccer, because I got no left foot. I got no left foot. I'm sorry, kids. When I was growing up, soccer was not a big sport in New York. It was lacrosse. Lacrosse was the fifth sport. It was hockey, basketball, baseball, football, and lacrosse. But soccer was like 6 or 7. So, I got a right foot. My right foot's great, but I got no left. I can't dribble like that. I watch you kids who can do your ambidextrous with your feet and the things you can do with a soccer ball. Nah, that ain't me. You'd run right around me if I ever played soccer with it.
Well, you might have one left foot or one right foot when you play soccer. I've seen you dance. You got 2 good feet. Ask him to dance when we come back in person. He can really shake it. All right, Mr. Shoemaker, your least favorite sport to play?
I would say it's a hard tie between the sport of cross country. Just don't like running long distance in the hills. That's just not me. I'm a cheetah. I'm not a deer. All right? And I'd say the second is probably tennis. I played sports that were physical with your hands. Never liked the racket sports. Not that I don't like them. I'm impressed by them, people that can play them well. But I just never got into the racket sports. So tennis and cross country would be a hard tie.
I think for me, it's going to be soccer. Mr. Mitchell, I was in 7th grade going to Herman Intermediate School. The sideline was right here. I finally got into the games. I wasn't the best player. I was a decent athlete, but someone passed me the ball. Instead of like catching the ball like this or like this, I figured I was going to go like this, and it was going to stop here. Well, it hit a lip in the grass and bounced through my legs and went out of bounds. I was so embarrassed. I'm serious. That was one of the top 5 most embarrassing times of my life.
Oh,
my friends were watching, you know. It was just really embarrassing. So soccer would be mine. Soccer would definitely be mine. Hey guys, the last football game I went to, it was freezing. I mean, it was cold. Last football game I went to, it was freezing. It must have been all the fans. Guys, one last principle to leave you before we go. Commitment over feeling. Be committed. If you commit to something, and then later you don't feel like doing it, that's a bad excuse. You got to follow through. Here's the key. Learn to say no. If someone asks you to do something that is a choice for you to do or not, you don't really want to do it, be bold and just say, you know, I'm just not interested, but thank you. That's a good lesson, isn't it, guys? Learn to say no. There's some people out there that just say yes to everything because they're afraid to hurt people's feelings. You can say no, especially if it's a choice question. So when you commit to something, you follow through with it. Follow through with it. Commitment over feeling. You say it, you do it. Say it, do it. Say what you mean and mean what you say. You say it and do it. Just when you say something.
Woo! What's going on here?
Woo! Mitchell.
Oh!
You're going to cry again.
Oh.
There you go.
No crying in football. Baseball, you.
Put
All
a
right.
flag on that one, Mr. Shoemaker.
Sourpuss. Stiffen that upper lip and
Suck it up.
buttercup. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're doing well out there. Keep on being a better you today, just a little bit better than you were yesterday, and push all the way. Keep on pushing. 1, 2, 3. Push!